Alan Wood here with the Alan Wood team here again with Vincent Moranti and one of our local attorneys that we work with. Thanks for joining us, Vinny.
Thanks for the privilege.
And we call him Vinny because we went to school together, as you knew probably from the segments before this. But today we're going to talk about the Greater Rochester Association of Realtors, and this is just a contract addendum. So with this addendum, for example, if you run out of space on the normal contract, we can just go to this, right, Vinny?
Well, if you run out of space, sure, it's just another a document that would be added to the contract, and also if you run out of time.
Yeah.
Right?
That too, yes, exactly. If for example, if the home inspection wasn't done on time or the mortgage commitment's not done on time, this is a continuation. So we could then just revise those things, have the buyer and seller agree to it, and then it's considered agreed to.
Yeah, just like in any real estate contract, everything has to be in writing. If the limitations expire, if you're supposed to close by December 1st and you need another 30 days, contact Alan and put it in writing. It's just an extra page of your contract that extends the deal. And
at worst case, if we don't have this form with us, we could do this part of the form too. You could do this on the blank piece of paper.
Or a bar napkin, which I'm sure Alan comes for.
Yeah, hey, can't say that, maybe. No. So, but that's a little bit about that. Next one is a personal property agreement. So personal property agreement talks about, the bank does not like items listed in the part of contract that we talked about earlier, paragraph 2, I think it is, or 1, it should be, actually it's part of 1. Paragraph 1 or section 1 of the contract talks about items included with the purchase. And these are things the bank does not like on there. They don't want to assign some value in the appraisal for refrigerators, stoves, things like that. So these get written on this form, and typically you'll see like a dollar. Is that what you see a lot of times, Vinny?
I personally have encountered a lot of headaches with personal property agreements. I'm going to be honest with everybody. Usually you would put down a fair market value, like Alan said. Sometimes you just put a dollar in. If it's an old washing machine, sometimes there's a lot more to the personal property agreement. There's a washer, there's a dryer, there's a refrigerator. Might be a water treatment attachment to the house, a softener that's not attached. There's something that you want. It gets hairy and messy sometimes because if something is screwed down to the house, the law of fixtures applies.
Correct.
And that property is usually automatically included in the house because you're not supposed to be taking it off the walls.
And right, and that's in section 1 we talked about that, like the mirrors over the vanities, I would say is considered attached because it's over the vanity. Now a mirror on a free wall in your living room is to me different.
Correct. That's a great example.
As an example, but like dining room fixtures, all those things, those have to stay, they're attached.
If it's glued to the house, it goes with the house.
Right.
If it's hanging on a nail, it can be taken away. But the bottom line as far as personal property agreement is, if you want it, you better put it in writing.
Yeah, and things like people put window blinds on here. I always tell them put all window treatments because if window blinds are on there, they can take the curtains. Okay, they can't take the rods, but they can take the curtains. So make sure you just spell out everything in writing here.
Yeah, be specific what you want.
And the other thing I've seen, and this happens sometimes in a higher price point, is if there's things being included like boat hoists, furniture, theater systems, you'll see possibly a higher value, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on here that values all those things, and those the buyer would have to pay pay sales tax on those when they purchase. But that also helps keep the purchase price down for the house because those things really aren't part of the appraised value, and so you don't want the appraiser coming in and seeing a higher sales price for items that you included that were personal property, because otherwise you're just going to get taxed on it for your property taxes.
Yeah, that's a good point, Alan. If it gets a little messy, speak to your accountant about it. There are tax advantages where you could save on sales tax and actually lower the purchase price of your property if you and your accountant, along with the support of Alan, create this contract in a certain way. So always remember there are tax advantages to distinguish between what you're buying, the home versus personal property.
Correct. So those are those two documents. Thanks for listening to us today, and next addendas we'll handle on the next video. Thanks, Vinny.
Yeah, sure, my pleasure.